Welcome back, fuckers. We took our time, but it is the Let It Rip podcast, episode 6. I'm joined alongside Ice, and we are live on twitch.tv at the moment. Hopefully we've got people watching in Twitch chat, although I can't tell. So the plan for this one, ladies and gentlemen, is we're just going to talk about in the past couple of weeks of games. So obviously the last episode we did was just with Josie about kind of the admin decision. So a lot of game things to catch up on, a lot of transfer talk, a lot of drama that we've got to kind of catch up on, and we'll get you guys involved as well. So if any of you do ever want to pop on, I will post the link to the Centurion Discord server in the Twitch chat, and then you just feel free to join. And if you join the general kind of voice call thing, I can just drag you through when we get enough people. So I will pop that in the Twitch chat. And yeah, feel free to join at any time. So Ice, welcome to the podcast. I think this is your first time on it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was on an episode last split, I think. But that's about it.
So what's your last couple of weeks been like? So obviously the biggest piece of noticeable content from yourself was obviously the big Baron steal on stream. But since then, how's your journey with DV going? Because I mean, I heard on the down low that there was potentially going to be no longer DV Ice.
Yeah, so during the transfer week, I was trying out with WSLA, just because there was some internal things between me and Arbush that I wasn't too big of a fan of, but we've kind of worked on that together, and I tried out for WSLA, but there was just a couple of things I didn't really like about them, and I thought, all things equal, both teams are pretty even, but just having to build up synergy again with a whole new team compared to what I already have with DV doesn't really seem worth it.
So, if you don't mind talking about it, what's the main positive of DV? And what's the main negative? Not from a playstyle perspective, but for you personally on a team level. Where does it kind of stand?
For me, so the biggest negative is, I think he knows this, is for me is Hashi. But he's getting better, starting to listen and not do as many muddled calls, which is something he really struggled with at the start of the split. And then in terms of like positives, I work really, really well with Trey, Lollyful, our mid laner. I'm not quite sure why, because we've never played on a team together or anything before this split, but just when we were both doing tryouts before the start of the split, we both sort of we were working well together and decided we'd try and join a team together. So that's why we ended up on DV together.
That's fair enough. So it's just a kind of comms issue that you've got with Hashi.
Yeah, definitely just a comms issue, but we're working on it. Whether it's me, if we're losing, I am not a good teammate at all. I'll be the first person to say that. I am extremely toxic to my own teammates, which is not fantastic. I'm pretty sure I once told Hashi he was mentally retarded and to never speak in team fights again after we lost our first game to Windhowl.
So not the best bit of team communications it goes.
No, not really.
Fair play for admitting it. Fair play for admitting it.
I'm working on that, and people are working on also just being more open with information and trying to make my life a bit easier as the main shot caller, providing me with more information on their side in terms of laners leaving, or do they? What are summoners like, that kind of thing?
That's fair enough. So, what's DV's record currently, and
We're
where are you in the standings?
we're 4-1, having only lost to VGB in the first week, and I think technically just on head to head we're first at the moment, having beaten both WSLA, who are also 4-1, and SCS, who are technically still 4-1, but I think that's just awaiting the failed appeal from Agrita.
Yeah, so obviously when they'll lose all their wins for that, I assume, and obviously they'll be needing a new top laner. But I mean, we scrimmed on WSL back when I played for them against SCS because we thought they'd be good and we weren't doing too hot, so we thought we'd give it a go. And yeah, they didn't use Pickles Man, and yeah, that one didn't go too well. But
No, they have no, like. It's very clear that they've just had him do all of their shot calling and then not really have to think about any macro related things. So we played them last week, which was the first week without Pickles, and they had no idea about macro or anything like that. Individually, their mid laner or sub mid laner, I'm Jaroon, and their ADC, they're really they're pretty good mechanically. They just have no sense of macro at all.
that's fair. That's fair. So you're now seeing this kind of three-way tie, if you want to call it a three-way tie, between you, VGB, and DV. And I think everyone was expecting VGB and DV to be the top two teams, at least in my episode 0, the Drunken Podcast, where, well, let's face it was embarrassing. But in that podcast, I did say quite clearly that I thought you two were going to be at the top as the two best teams.
Yeah.
Do you see yourselves as a better team compared to VGB? I mean, obviously, this is not concluding WSLA, we'll talk about in a little bit, but
Uh, I think we're really even at the moment. They have things they're better at than us, and we have things that I feel we're better at than them.
care to
I will
elaborate?
say, yeah, I think at the moment their ability to play together as a team and their synergy between, especially between Wavy and Llama in terms of coordinating warding and ganks, is insane for any silver gold team, in my opinion. It's really, really good. Where I feel we kind of are a bit better is in our inherent, once we hit sort of mid to late game, our team fighting ability is a bit better than them. I think we're a bit better at coordinating sort of fights and targets, that kind of thing. I will say though, since they lost Weasel and picked up Dan, they're a lot better. I rate Dan much, much, much higher than Weasel. Just in terms of, I think he has a much better champion pool, and he has one or two champs that I think he can legit just 1v9 on.
Yeah, I mean that is fair because when I was coaching Hensai Haven for that small period of time, Dan very much surprised me on how good he actually is.
Yeah,
And I think he was by far the best player on Hensai Haven after all the changes that they did, obviously coming into this split. Um, but then when watching Weasel play AD carry, I genuinely saw this guy could genuinely play lane, and for me, it's not difficult to play AD carry outside of lane. You just stand at the back, wait for Malphite to press R, and then you know you're safe to start auto attacking it. It's not too difficult of a role, really. But playing lane is a little bit harder, especially when you're not doing a lot of damage. You've not got the tools to kind of initiate and disengage from fights, aside from maybe champions like Caitlyn and Azure, where you've got those tools to do that. But he seemed to have that, so it'll be interesting to see, did Dan and Lama have that same level of synergy, and that's going to be a big question.
yeah. Just on that, like obviously I can't comment too much on laning because I'm not there for most of it, but I know my own ADC. We scrimmed VGB a absolute shit ton at the start of the split and have scrimmed them a couple of times since then. And there's been a couple of games where they've used Dan, and he feels like Dan's more of a threat in lane. So it'll be interesting to see because I think Dan and Lama are probably the best in lane team, but I don't expect them to completely roll over my own bot lane. I think while Franklin and Hashi are never gonna hard win the lane, come out of it like 6-0. I don't think they're ever gonna hard lose the lane like that. They might go down like 10, 15 CS, but I don't think they're ever gonna, in a straight up 2v2 situation, they're never gonna hard into it.
Yeah, I mean, I have played with Harshy, obviously, in the back end of last Blitz and with Centurion, and I played against Franklin. Actually, lost to Franklin as well in a game. Um, so I know I can kind of see where the strengths would lie. And, Franklin. Well, we gave him Ezreal, and he did what Ezreal does when Franklin's got him. And playing with Harshy, he's good at just playing for the AD carry, which not a lot of supports like to do. Kind of the issue that I had with Branch on WSL was he ain't going to play for the AD carry. He's a support that will try and carry his support, and he does that very, very well. It's very much about the AD carry needing to fit to him. And Harshy does the opposite. He's able to fit the AD carry, so I can see how that would work. And then it's just seeing how that can really develop for you guys. I suppose the two things that you've mentioned is the fact that you know Harshy's got not going to win that lane. Obviously, supports are the ones that win the lane, and you're saying that they're not really going to win lane, and you're saying that Llama and Wavy have got this insane jungle support synergy, and that's not the same synergy that you and Harshy have got. Now, maybe that's just me plucking at straws, given your earlier comment. But is that why that you're seeing these issues? Is this kind of a double-edged sword, or in fact, does Harsha just offer things that Llama doesn't, that really provide value for your team?
I think Harshi's ability to, I think what Hashi does really well that I don't see is, as you said yourself, is he will just play for the ADC. He understands his role within our team is he just needs to peel for. We're going to put him on peeling supports, and he's there to protect Franklin. He isn't going to be our main initiator. That's going to be on me or John Joe. And I don't think any other support within Silver Gold really has that ability to kind of not put their to kind of put their ego behind them and okay, I understand I'm a support player. If I die but my ADC lives, that's fine by me. I don't think you'd see the likes of probably Stronger or Chaos or Llama really be able to sort of take that full back seat that I think Hashi can sometimes.
That is fair. That is true. We're gonna now try and look to get a guest in. So I'll explain to people who might have just joined. I've posted the Discord link in chat. If you join that link, you'll join the Centurion Discord server. Just join General. I can see Bauer's in there at the moment. I'll pull him through in a second. Um, just join General, and I'll drag you through as soon as you're ready. So I'm going to pull through Bauer. Hopefully he will fucking recognise the fact that he's muted on both, but I'll do it anyway. We'll just now ping him, just to be sure. There we go, Isaiah Bauer. Welcome to the stream.
Hold on, I'm gonna. Alright, now I've muted the stream.
That might help, right? I'll bump you
Just to prevent I hear you twice and then it's gonna be one big clusterfuck.
So, Bauer, is there anything immediate that you've got to say, or are you just here for the limelight?
Not really, no.
Right, okay. So, now you're here, let's talk about something which, obviously we've got Ice, who was potentially trying out for WSLA Jungle. That was the role that you were originally signed up for, obviously not playing at the start of the split. Obviously, I think you're on holiday or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your split so far on WSLA, because it's been a bit of a weird one. And where do you stand currently within the team?
I mean, it's been a bit weird because I was away for 2 weeks. First week I was on holiday, another one I had school stuff. So I've only played, I think, two or 3 weeks. I don't remember. But when I played those, it was fine. So far I'm pretty happy with the performance and stuff. And within the team, we're just looking about playstyle because obviously I like to play shit like Twitch and stuff. While the coaches really like tank jungler, Sejuani and shit.
Yeah.
So we just try to find a good balance in that.
Just on that, like for my tryout first game, I come in and Luxor immediately goes Sejuani duty. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
So this is something that I want to talk about, given the fact that we've got two of the kind of top tier silver gold junglers. I mean, I can vouch for Bauer being good, even if other people might disagree. Obviously, with our time on Coin together, which was in the Focus Esports League, we played for a short amount of time. One of the key games that I saw of you, Ice, on stream, where I really I had very high expectations, as you know, coming into this split. Obviously, way back when we played together on Demo. You know, that was a
Yeah.
long ass time ago. And it was a game when you played Jinzhou on stream, and I think you might have ended up winning the series. I'm not sure.
No, we lost. That was first week, so we lost that 2-1.
Yeah, that might have been that
Yeah,
one.
since that was such a bad pick there, but what can you do?
Well, it's just that play style, really, because it's something that I kind of want to talk about without briefly mentioning it. You picked the Jinzhou, and I don't think we saw many ganks or proactive plays from you in the early game. Is this something that you think is a weakness for yourself? Is it?
Yeah, I'd say definitely Bauer and Wavy to a certain extent are much better in the first sort of 5-10 minutes than I am. But I think where I kind of outshine at least Wavy. I haven't played Bauer. I've never played him. When we played WSLA, he's always been on holiday or whatever.
Yeah.
Is my ability to sort of coordinate a team and look for mid to late game engages. Which, if you look at the champs I like playing, kind of the Jarvan, the Vi, if I have to, Sack or like Hecarim, all kind of favor that sort of mid game team fight engage.
That's fair enough, because a lot of junglers can lack that, the understanding of, do you actually win a team fight if you get the right engage? It's my AD carry got the items and my mid laner got the items. But moving on to you, what would you say your style is? So obviously you get fabled as this Twitch one trick. Obviously when you played for Coin, we very much tried to get you off that champion. We tried Sejuani, we tried Elise, we found successes and the opposite on certain occasions. Where do you really see yourself as a jungler if you were to describe yourself?
I mean, I think I have like two playstyles. One is like Twitch and Evelyn, and just, I mean, I think they kind of work the same way. You just pull off invisible ganks and try to snowball to the point where you can basically 1v9. Or just play Elise, Jarvan, and just champions where you just gank 24/7 the first 20 minutes of the game and then snowball off of that. I don't really like sitting around waiting. I mean, sure, Twitch is a scaling champ, but I still try to use the early game because your clear is pretty shit. And just try to snowball and win the game early. I don't really like playing for late game. I don't think it works very well.
That's fair. So, Bauer, before I go on to the next guest, which looks like it's going to be impressive, I've got 3 questions to ask you, and then I'll ask you a question if you want to before you go. Question 1 is, where do you see WSLA finishing this season, or this split?
I think if we keep going at this pace, then we will get first, for sure.
That's fair enough. Question 2 is, who do you think will be your biggest opposition?
The biggest opposition in the Silver Gold League. I would probably actually have to look up statistics. I mean, at first it would have been Sons of Capricorn, since they had their big sandbagger. But now that he's gone, I'm not sure. I think we'll just have to play a couple more games. Obviously, I haven't played that many, so I'm not sure what I think of all of the teams. But there's some pretty decent junglers, pretty decent teams out there. So I wouldn't say it's confirmed that we will easily win the split. Definitely not.
Okay, and then the final one is flame time. If you're going to call out someone, anyone in this league, whether it's silver gold or gold plat, even an admin, who is it?
I call someone out. Let's see. I mean, I call out people all the time for being shit, so it's not really new, is it?
Fair enough. I send the last words before we kick this guy to the curb.
No, not really. Like, shame you were on holiday. I'm still looking forward to the Tristana Twitch matchup.
Yeah, same.
Save that one for the playoff final, boys. Save that one for the playoff final. Right, Bauer, I'm going to kick you to
Yep.
the curb. We're going to bring in Impress. Right, you're just pretend you're there. Have fun. See you, Bauer. Right, we'll bring in Impress now. He should hopefully be able to mute his mic or unmute it. There he is.
Good evening. Hello.
Impress, welcome
All right.
to the Let Rip
I will
podcast.
be right back collecting some food.
I was immediately leaving when I joined.
To be fair, he did say before the podcast started that he might have to do that. Impress, my new manager, new coach, or whatever you want to call it, team leader.
I don't know. It's whatever you want to call me, I guess.
Let's talk a bit about
yeah.
transfer week, because it's been a bit of a mad one Phil.
Don't
Ike.
ask me. It's such a mess. Oh, fucking hell. Alright, so basically our top laner, Dopa, went to boot camp in North Korea for like 2.5 weeks. Getting that communist Kim Jong-un training in. He said he's gonna be back like on the, I think, 3rd or 4th of September. So we were like, okay, whatever, fuck it. We're not screaming. It's I mean, okay. And then 5th of September, I still haven't heard anything from him since his departure. And I'm like, okay, I mean, let's pull some strings. So Rock Snakes Tree. I mean, no, what? I mean, some events occurred, and we had to do some tryouts and sign some players. And now we're like yesterday, Ike was able to do a complete in-house, and only one coach played. So there's that. Yeah, and in this chain of events, we picked up Udriga. I don't know how. I don't know how this could happen. Actually, I mean, like, I still don't understand why WSL kicked you. To be honest, I would have kicked someone else.
Well, I'll explain it again. I spoke a little bit about it occasionally at different points, but I'll kind of go through the whole story if you want to hear it. So
Yeah.
we played the first 3 games in week 1. We go 0-3, losing to Vigorous, Elo Thieves, and who the fuck was the other one? PMA. So 2 very difficult games. Vigorous, we didn't really know where they'd be at. That was the closest of the 3 games. We got stomped in the other 2, no questions. After the game, massive team chat. In the end, Lux is like, okay, everyone's going to potentially get replaced. Everyone has to retry out, and we're going to be bringing tryouts in.
Yeah.
So, okay, fair enough. And in the end, Wise Town, who was now renamed to Solgar, decided to just leave the team. There a lot of intercommunicational problems with Wise, with Silverback, with myself, with Branch. Obviously, Fatal had moved into mid, and there was even problems between Wise and Fatal as well. So he decided to drop out. One of the jungle tryouts was here. We also tried out a different top laner, so we played a couple scrims, a different top and a different jungle. And then Lux was like, yeah, okay, we're going to use this team. We did really well. Turned out that top player was a Plat 3 player, so couldn't play. So Silverback came back in. But at that time, Silverback could have potentially been replaced. And then what happened was we played the next games. We went 2-0, obviously beating Ike and beating Bob. And I think I played pretty well.
2 easy games.
2 easy games, yeah. I played pretty well in both games.
Yeah, you did.
Got a pentakill against Bob and kind of forced you guys to into me in the first game to pull that one back. And then everything seemed to be going okay. It was then that next scrim, and in that next scrim, it was the same 5, and no, it wasn't the same 5 because Luxor had decided that Fatal was going to lose his spot, and none of the team really understood why. So it was kind of a bit of a strange one. So, okay, we'll try out Blazing Midnight. We tried out Blazing Midnight, and a very different type of player, and not vocal at all compared to Fatal. And game 1 went so badly, like so badly. That badly that in game 2 we decided to play without comms, and this was my call, just because every problem that we had was comms related. And game 2, we absolutely dominated. It was insane, the synergy that support and jungle had, and they roamed up top, got Silverback a lead. It got me a lead as well, roam mid, got mid a lead, and it genuinely worked really well. Probably the best game that we'd ever played together. And then it was kind of, Luxor wasn't happy with the fact that we played without comms. The next scrim, I wasn't there. It was playing with this new AD carry. So I messaged Luxor, I'm like, am I getting replaced? And he's like, no, you're not getting replaced. You'll be keeping your main spot. It's like, right, okay, that's fine then. I'm okay with that. And then they played the games. He performed really well. And then Bauer messages me saying, by the way, you're losing your spot. I'm like, what? So I message Luxor, am I losing my spot? He's like, no, but it's probably going to be 50-50. and then it's like he's going to let the players decide. Give it 2-3 days later, I messaged him saying I've not heard anything. Where's it going to be at? And Luxor says, well, it's probably going to be a rotational thing. So at that point, I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to look for a new team. And at that point, Pro and yourselves had already kind of offered a spot. So that's kind of how that went on. But I'm going to pull Silver back in because he has asked for a while. So I'll move him in just to kind of give his touch on it. At least I think I did. Ah, fuck, I misclicked.
How's it going?
Hello.
Ah, there he is. Alex is in. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm alright. Grand.
So I have a question then. Is
Yeah.
Luxor just doing things for the sake of it?
So
All right, that's enough of an answer. Actually,
I mean,
the fact that
like,
it hasn't
we
been
all
done-
know what Luxor does when it comes to week 4 and what's the other trade transfer week?
Week 8.
8. Yeah. So like week 4 and week 8, that's when Luxor does like 90% of his work. just goes in looking for team channels and goes, and then
You should see my my DMs with Luxor in the past week.
yeah.
So-
But so yeah, I mean, I don't think Drigger's told any lies in what he's been saying. Yeah, I've been listening to everything, and
Yeah, that would be pretty embarrassing.
basically, like, yeah, from our perspective, what happened was, you were like Drigger was talking about the scrim that we played where, Wellesley filled in. Basically,
Agrata, you mean?
what?
Yeah.
Yes, Agrata. Agrata's back, boys. Pickles man's actually Wellesley. No.
I mean, I heard something.
No,
Like,
he's
obviously I can't
English. He's
confirm.
English for a start. But so we were looking for a scrim. We got a scrim, and then Drigger was like, from what I could see, right? Drigger was on the little idle thing, on Discord. But he said like, this was later like disproven or whatever, right? So I just thought he was like out or was doing stuff. So but we really wanted the scrim. So I can't remember who said it. It might have been Luxor, it could have been Fatal or Doomby. But they said like, oh, we've got Wellesley actually, like there's a tryout there, and then we played with him and it went like really well. So then we decided to like bring him on as a sub or anything. I don't like we genuinely weren't like yeah, Trigger's like out completely or like this guy's on after one scrim. It was just sort of like this guy's really good, he fits, and so we'll bring him onto the team. And then Trigger, whatever Luxor said, like you're not losing your spot and stuff in DMs, which is like that's nothing to do with me or the team, right? But yeah,
I mean,
Trigger
he said
didn't
that
want to compete for a
before
spot,
the
basically.
games, right?
Yeah, Luxor said that
yeah,
before the
he said that
games.
before.
It
Yeah.
was after the games that was when Bauer messaged me, like the day after,
Yeah.
saying
Oh well, I think that comes from at the time we, some reason, I think I was talking to maybe Festive and Yets and Stronger from the green the silver gold team, and so like I dragged everyone in just to have a chat, and then like people were making jokes like Trigger's bench boys, well he's really like WSL do.
yeah.
Whether or not there was any truth in it, like me, I don't really give a fuck. I just want to win, so it doesn't really bother me.
I mean, he's not benched on Ike.
What?
True.
Feels bad.
Literally went from bench from WSL to bench on Ike.
Yeah,
There you
impress on transfer. Like how's Remix doing mid lane? Like how's he doing?
I mean, there's no remix in mid lane. Like I don't know.
To,
Same as there's no Agrata in ADC for WSL.
Yeah.
to be fair, right, part of my Ike tryout, I'm not even going to lie, part of my Ike tryout was I genuinely want to find out if this is actually remix. Because listen, if it was remix, if it was, I was not going to join your team, because I'm not going to join your team to then get banned 3 weeks later because we've got a Smurf on the team.
Yeah.
And then
Right, talking of that, I'm just gonna do. He had a how's that been going? Because I know he had a chat with Amons the other day, right?
But he had a call with Hyper yesterday.
Fair. Because
and he's like, Hyper, come on, cut me some slack here, man. I just want to play. I did, I was admin before, come on.
No, but
No,
genuinely speaking,
I think-
they do sound nothing alike, which is...
Yeah, I don't know. Like Endeavor was like it was on a Let It Rip podcast as well, right? Where Endeavor said that Remix and Wanted like sound similar.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then obviously it just started. People just picking it up, of course, because it's actually giga fun.
I think like even if just think they sound similar, like I know with Drigger and with Agrita, the second I heard their voice, you can just immediately tell. So if there's any doubt, then it's likely then you shouldn't even be talking about it.
I
In
mean,
my
I'll
opinion.
be honest. See, you know the way there's a clip of the Agrita thing, right?
Oh yeah,
Or
because
of
I
Pickles
gave
Man.
that to them.
Yeah, right. I genuinely did not know it was Agrita because I can't remember his voice.
Fair.
Because he was in 70s for I think he was in 70s for 2 weeks, and of
Yeah.
that 2 weeks, I think we scrimmed with him maybe twice, and once was against Impress and Henley Haven, and they banned us. And he got a penta on Draven. the game.
Oh,
I
there
think
was
the scrim
such
before.
a big drama. Like
Yeah,
we
it was
we
fucking
knew of a
hilarious,
second
actually.
account, and then
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait,
like-
didn't I? I think I filled that game because I remember hearing this, and I was like banned the Draven because I remember his ADC account.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, scrim leagues, really? And we were like, I don't know what was going on. Like
Somebody told us that it was scrim leagues.
yeah, I don't know. Like I can't remember who it was, but
Might have been Callie.
didn't you guys say you weren't aware of Agrita's second account?
No, I
No,
knew of it.
I literally I personally didn't have a fucking clue, honestly.
Yeah, like
and obviously I didn't know anything about Ignitar or like honestly, I did not. I literally go in to every team and I'm like, okay, I trust these guys. Like I trust that they're like self-respecting human beings and they're not gonna fuck over other people just because they want to boost their ego.
The thing is, you can tell that you're telling the truth because as soon as you did find out, VL was just a shit fest of it. You and Wise Town just absolutely going to town on it.
Exactly, man.
So you could
I honestly I fucking hate it. And like people can say like, oh, you're smurfing, you're sandbagging or whatever from Silver Gold. Like okay, you think what you want, but I'm actually not very good. Like mechanically, I'm fucking dog shit.
So
I mean, like people always point out like sandbagging was like same with the pro jungler, no? Like Olu, where he for some reason
Olu is
Roster
not a
Lock-
sandbag. I'm sorry, he has more
No, no.
games like ranked games.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying, like people are like so quick. The people you
Yep.
can't deny the fact that people pointed out that he's sandbagging
Yeah.
100%.
because he went like to P2 after like 2 or 3 days after roster lock or something. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
But then now people are, but then if
He
you
went
have to
to
say if you say that
P2.
about him, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to say the same thing about Lordio.
I mean,
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
I mean, like Lordia for me is sandbag as well. Like,
Wait, hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Empress. He went to P2 2 days after roster lock.
2 or 3, or I don't know, a couple of days. Like,
That's some fucking DD shit.
yeah,
The thing for me about Olu is that I was trying out for pro back when they were first becoming a team when I wasn't like definitely going to join WSL at the time, and I didn't play in the first set of scrim games. It was Kiz that filled in mid, and they posted the screenshots of the end of the game. And in all two, three of the games, Olu had got like 17 and 2, 18 and 4. Just like, who the fuck is this guy? And as soon as you see that, if it's an unknown player who is solo carrying a game against like a top tier team,
then it's Smurf.
then that's just immediately a thought, isn't it? It's like, this guy's probably not legit. And that's just what happened to new guys. I mean, that's how Pickles Man was so immediately found out. Like no one would have presumed that was Agrita if it was an account which we were all familiar with. With the fact this is new, who the fuck is it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where it is. So Impress, while we try and get through guests as quickly as possible, where do you picture Ike finishing? And also, what's the situation with this game with PMA?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on reschedule game, but Looney's busy throwing some shade, and I don't know. Others are
Playing
busy
against Turkish
sandbagging.
monsters. So cute.
Legitimately watching you and Looney just throw shit at each other in CR chat in general is just a
That's
highlight of
very
my
funny.
week.
I mean, I don't know. Like I just started pointing out the fact that he went nuts like back in the day. And now it's it. I mean, I don't rate him at all. Like neither as a player or as a person. He knows that, and he
Looney?
doesn't rate me. So it's we don't have to be best friends, and I don't want to be friends with him. So
I mean,
that.
the thing is, that was on the week where League went down, so a lot of teams have got the
Yeah.
joy of getting these reschedules. The only thing
We
is
still have
that
our
Looney's
VBS
saying
game.
is that you guys said that you FF'd before the game started, and then that's
I mean,
the
yeah, like yeah.
that's the only kind of debate in that, really, isn't it? So it's going to be up to admins at the end of the day. But yeah,
I mean, there's like no real debate. Like, we told them that we can't fill the roster, but the fact that they went nuts, like starting from Laudio to Looney, because we just mean the championship. Oh, we're so sad that League died. We couldn't play the game against PMA. I'm looking forward to the reschedule. Such a pity. That just went crazy because I don't know. They're fucking delusional.
Impress argument baiting as usual. What can you do?
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
yeah.
I mean, the thing
Toxic pre-owner.
is most
Toxic pre-owner.
teams give bans even after the teams lose bans, and most teams try to
Yeah.
reschedule. I think PMA
Yeah.
and Team Elite have been the only team that have really denied this.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the drama that happened last split, and whether it's Looney, whether it's Laudio, they seem to be at the front face of it. There's something there, and
I
I mean,
whether
like
it's
I
just
know, I don't want
desire
to,
want to
I
win.
don't
or-
want to flame Laudio. I don't want to flame Laudio because, like,
It's
in DMs,
100% Looney.
it's Looney. Like Laudio even says that himself. So it's just Looney. It's like whatever. Yeah. So no hate for
That's fair enough.
for Laudio here.
So impressed. Before I'll just actually have a word with Silverback since he's joined.
Poggers.
Obviously, you got the new 7-man roster. How well do you reckon it's going to do? Where do you reckon you guys are going to end up?
I mean, everyone who's losing against me, autofill jungler, washed up, no fingers, should retire.
Except
from League of
WSL. Except WSL.
should retire from League of Legends and stop playing Roblox. Other than that, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna do some random shit. It's gonna be good. And yeah, I mean, our goal is to get ego speed for top lane, just like DVT. That's it. Playing
Awesome.
Thrash top, and nobody notices it. Unlucky.
Right, I'll choke you out now, Impress. Adios.
All right.
It's gone. Yeah,
I
Alex, how you
fucked it
doing,
up.
mate?
Yeah, I'm alright.
So let's have a bit of a talk about WSLA for a bit, because obviously you're coaching that team at the moment.
I would say more of like helping out, like assistant coach, maybe. Like I'm
Sorry,
not
I
actually
just have
very
one
involved.
question.
Sure.
Who drafted for you game 1 versus us on stream? Who did that? Because they should just be
When?
sacked.
When was this?
2 weeks ago?
I honestly don't know.
Because that
I
was
couldn't
the
tell you.
most int of a draft I've ever seen.
Do you remember the draft?
You gave us all 5 of our favorite champions, and you drafted crap into it. Let me see if I can find the match history. But you gave John Joe Na, you gave me Jarvan, and you gave Trey Syndra. You gave Ezreal to Franklin, and you gave Braum to.
I don't. I see things, but I don't know if it's Grims. Oh wait.
Oh yeah. So you drafted Urgot, Skarner, Ari.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
Syra
From
Khan.
everyone. I see them soon. Oh yeah, I remember this. Where slacking, I actually had a go at slacking. Well, not had a go. I had a stern word with slacking after this because, like they were saying, we need to select a game plan or we need to have a game plan, and I was just like, well, was the game plan to just let Nar kite you while you walk at him?
Oh yeah, I remember that game. He played Urgot, didn't he?
Was the game plan to not back at 350 gold after you clear Raptors red and Krugs and get Predator boots on Skarner? Like, what's going on here? What like what's happening? And then I was there for game 2 draft, I think, but I don't take part in draft.
No.
And then I wasn't there for game 3 draft.
Yeah, game 2 and 3 were a lot better. Just a shame Gui forgot he had a smite button, but what can you do?
I think he unbound it, to be honest.
Only thing that makes sense. So let's talk
The
about
funny
this.
thing is, actually, one more thing about that. The funny thing is, I don't know if you've heard this, but he said that he got knocked up, and that's
Yeah,
why he
I've heard.
decided.
Yeah, they trashed up.
It's just like, and what? You can still smite when you're knocked up, mate. But yeah.
There you go. So that's the thing. That's what I want to talk about. This jungle spot on WSLA. We've gone over it a fair bit, but just from a perspective of not the management side, but you're kind of there as a senior authority in the team.
Hmm.
What's your perspective on Bauer, on Gooey J, and on Ice, and whoever else is trying out for this team? Because surely you can see the best out of most and where this team can really end up.
I mean, like, I think everyone has their positives, however large or slight they are. GUI, I would say, is quite innovative with his builds, if I could say that. And then Ice is a really good, like, I would say, a good team player in my opinion. He plays champions. I think he tracks quite well. But maybe won't be that hard carry like Wisetown on Rex last split sort of player, you know.
Yeah.
And then Bar is like quite opinionated, and he knows what he wants, but he also has a lot of nice one, Joycey. Joycey's just sent int Ovator for Gui. But yeah, Bar has his like his carry potential if he gets what he wants. The issues I have with him is his attitude towards like changing, and his kind of um I would say one-dimensional playing, or like champion pool really, where it's everyone knows about his Twitch, and then he plays a few other champions. Evelyn, he says he can play J4. Yeah.
This is what I don't understand. Why bother banning the Twitch? Because if you just understand how to track a Twitch early, it should, in theory, be the easiest champ to counter in the jungle. You pick someone with some hard CC, and then you just go fuck him constantly in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that's the thing, mate. Like, like, obviously, he will win games if he gets Twitch. Like, just like if you give, like General Grievous is Yasuo, he's gonna win like 7 or 8 times out of 10 on that champion in his lane, or at least he did in like last split. And like everyone has their one tricks that they're really comfortable on, but it's up to you as the enemy to know what to do against that. And at a silver
Yeah,
gold level,
obviously.
that's quite hard, you know.
I mean,
And now, having said this, we're probably going to leave it open, and then he's just going to like 1v5 a game. I'm going
Yeah,
to
we're gonna
look like
play
a
the
complete
three
ass.
supports Cho'Gath and Twitch
Mm.
again.
I mean, as I say, when me and Barrow were on the same team together, we had this strategy of him playing Elise, Aurelia, Pike, and like Morgana bot lane. It was fucking crazy, but he was on this Elise and doing a lot of work. And when that wasn't working, we'd pick the Twitch, and we're playing against like platform junglers, platform mid laners, and he'd still solo carry a game, unbelievably. Like it's just crazy. To stop a Twitch in theory is easy. There's a reason it's not picked.
Sure.
But that means you've got to draft priority lanes. That means you've got to draft junglers that have got that ability to lock down the Twitch. And then it's having that innate synergy to do it as well. That's so many things that you've got to have, whereas Twitch just has to play Twitch and press Q. And it's a lot easier to do the latter. So
Yeah, I think it's the issue is you have to actually consciously think about what to do about Twitch. Like you can't just AFK through the first 3 minutes, like most players do, I would say. You have to actually think, okay, Twitch started red buff, so he's probably coming top or mid, or Twitch started red buff, so he's probably going bot or mid, depending on what side he's on.
And then is it even going to bother doing that? Or is he going to go to the other side of the map because you're expecting it? Like there's.
Yeah. Is he just going to invade and kill your jungler? As well?
It is a tough one. So, in your opinion, have WSLA made the right call in not trying to attract Ice? Now, obviously, maybe it was up to Ice in the end to just say, no, I don't want to join.
That was my decision in the end.
But from your perspective,
Loxla did try.
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Like, I don't watch them play enough. Like, so I'm sure that eventually they could get Bar to work well, because he obviously has some skill on some champions, so you could move that on the other champions. I think that Ice is probably more of a how would I say it? Like a Korean jungler style, right? Like Banky, where they track and they path quite well and they gank quite well. And then Bar is more of like an NA or EU solo queue jungler, where they just pick their champion and win the game from themselves and don't really care what the team think.
That's fair. That's fair. So now let's talk about WSL 032030. Pretty crazy turnaround given how it's been a roller coaster ride, at least from what
Yeah.
I've seen, to where you guys must be now. You've
Hmm.
got Kiz in the mid lane, you've got Mental in the jungle. Things are going well for you guys.
Hmm.
What's the biggest change since bringing in Kiz to replace Fatal and Wellesley to replace myself?
Honestly, I think it's mid jungle synergy, and then the ability of Bromsh to kind of make that not a mid jungle duo but a mid jungle support trio. And also the ability of Wellesley to be like a rock in the bot lane and like give up CS, or like Wellesley's probably similar to like Minky's attitude, where he really doesn't give a fuck as long as he doesn't die. Like you saw on stream, he was under turret 1v2 and was out playing and not dying while we were getting 3 or 4 kills topside. So yeah, I think it's honestly just like the synergy and then the ability that our new ball in, and then obviously I don't really do anything top lane. I just sort of sit there and farm, or sometimes 1v1 the top laner.
Occasionally.
Yeah. And we can just be sort of like stable players while the other 3 just are good in squad and go and kill everyone.
Do you have a fear that now WSL are almost too one-dimensional? Now, granted, when I saw those screenshots, it looks like Wellesley's well within his right to be a 1v9 player. I'm not going to take that away from him. I've never seen him play. Looking at the screenshots, he probably can. But based off, if you're saying, unlike me, where I was kind of restricting Bramch, Wellesley's not going to do that, which means Bramch is going to play around mid-jungle. And
Sure.
we know Mental plays around mid lane, and we know that Kiz likes to have attention in his lane and he wants to be aggressive.
Yep.
I think that's a fantastic game plan and a fantastic strategy. And if you're good at your game plan, you'll automatically make playoffs. But is that a
Sure.
weakness that teams know how you're going to play?
I mean, honestly, I don't feel like maybe 90 to 80% of the teams are good enough to stop that if it's done properly, whether or not they know it, you know? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
that if we get really, really good at having a really good mid jungle synergy, like aggressive mid jungle synergy with Bromsh supporting them and making plays, and then coming around mid game fights and just fucking destroying everyone, like, if we can get that down, keep the communication proper, keep our vision really good, I don't think there are many teams in VL that could withstand that, honestly. Whether they know that we're going to do it or not, it's like Clutch in NA, right? Every single person in the world knows that Clutch go top lane at 10 or 11 minutes for Rift Herald. It's just how many teams can stop them, and it looks like only like CLG and Team Liquid could do it.
That's fair enough. Another question that I think could be quite key. Obviously, I've played with Bramch and Kids before. I know how well they work, but I know how they are. And obviously, after being with you guys for a while, I can kind of see where the Mental is. Obviously, with Mental and Wellesley, I assume you've got some more, not timid, but tame people there. I know you guys lost in a scrim versus Pro when Endeavour was filling in. Not a scrim leak. Hopefully, that's not too much of a scrim leak. But what was the Mental like after that game? Because a key thing for me was, yeah, I can imagine that team being really, really good. I can imagine that team being the best team in the league until it
Sure.
loses.
Honestly, that's quite ironic because we had like a talk before that. I can't remember if it was just before the scrim or the day before or something like that, but I think it was Luxor was like, I'm just waiting for you boys to lose one scrim and then go boom, because we'd just gone like we'd been doing well in scrims that week, and yeah, Luxor was just like, I can't wait for you guys to lose and just go boom again. Obviously, Luxor being sadistic as he is, and then we lost, and it was like a well fuck, we just got absolutely destroyed. and we don't really like. It was just the thing where like draft went wrong. We didn't really have a plan. We just sort of did it in the moment, and then yeah, we just lost. But I think that the addition of Kiz and Mental really boosts our mentality because they're always, or at least now they're always like, come on boys, we can do this. They're always
Kiz
laughing,
is a
joking.
super like go happy, doesn't
Yeah.
really.
They're both really chill.
Yeah.
And what like Wellesley doesn't tilt. It's basically just like me. And like because right when I'm playing badly, right, and I'm doing shit that I know that I shouldn't be doing, it kind of tilts me when I do it. Like, for example, if I was playing against Bar and I died to him level 2, I would be so tilted because I know that Twitch can come top, and I should have frozen that wave or tried to get it to still push into me. And if I don't do that, or I don't just back off the wave if I can't do that, then yeah, that would really tilt me. But honestly, with Kiz and Mental, it's quite hard to tilt. I did do it in one game, but yeah, I was fine after that. I was able to reset.
Right, fair enough, and that makes you a dangerous team. Ice, what's your perspective on the GP scene at the moment? I don't know how much you've been paying attention. Obviously, you've casted a few
Gangplank?
games.
Gangplank?
Yeah, I mean, I try and keep, because it's the only league I can cast, so I do try and keep some sort of idea of it. I think at the moment I see two clear top teams, just in terms of how much they practice and their ability to actually listen to their coach, and who actually take it more seriously than the other ones in like PMA and WSL. I think both of those teams have really good coaches and have players who are willing to listen to them.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Then you have teams like OP Nerds, who I haven't seen too much of, but I just keep hearing really good things about. And I think if the proposed things I've seen for Pro go through, they'll be really good. Now, whether that happens or not, I think it's still very much up in the air. But yeah, watch Pro in the next couple of weeks.
We'll see if Endeavour decides to finally finish his rank games. It's
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
not.
not only did I truly.
It depends how much Theo pays me to finish them with him.
Fair enough. I mean, I ruined WSL's week 1 and went 0-3 with them. I then ruined Pro week 3 and going 0-3 with them. In fact, out of every single player, I have the worst win-loss ratio, including the players from Bob. Maybe that changes after the 2 games we played yesterday, but that's quite embarrassing.
Just get good, Joker. Come on.
Just get good. And annoyingly, I don't even think I was the problem in any of the 6 games, but there you go.
I don't think it's like, honestly, to put the record straight, like the thing with like obviously WSL had issues, right? With Trigger and Wise and stuff, and even after Wise left and stuff, right? The problem was never with Trigger's like individual play. It was like how we meshed as a team, and whether it was me and Trigger clashing, or Bramsh and Trigger, or me and Bramsh, or Fatal and Trigger, or whoever is playing, all that needs to happen is like 2 of those people are removed. It could have been me and Bramsh. It could have been Fatal and me, and it could have been a lot better. It just so happened that Trigger left because he didn't want to be, because he heard some things and then didn't want to like be a 50-50 spot.
Yeah, and in the end, I've got a 50-50 spot with Ike, but there you go. I mean, it is what it is. To be fair, Oscar's that one support that I've enjoyed playing with the most out of everyone that I've played with. I think Bramsh is probably the best mechanically, and I don't think Oscar would be upset when me saying that. I think it's kind of undoubtable. But Bramsh has weaknesses. He's not an S tier player, at least in my opinion. Very good, but insane amount of weaknesses in terms of play style and linear points of playing. Yeah, I presume you understand what I mean, Alex.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, I just feel like similar to Bar, if you had the players to do it, if you play around them, it's you have so many players in the pro scene as well. Like obviously I'm big into the pro scene, but you have players with massive weaknesses, but they just don't show if you cover them
That's fair. That's fair.
or if
And
you work together.
Kiz is the perfect mid laner to put with Bramsh, and by the looks of things, Mental's the perfect jungler. So there you go. That's fair enough. Finally, before I kick you off, because it's been a while, how do you think WSL will do? Who's the main rival, and is there anyone that you want to flame?
So I'll start with like how I think WSL is gonna do. I feel like if we keep going, if we like at our current rate, if we keep like improving and do good game plans and keep bolstering our communication, I don't see anyone stopping us at all. Obviously that's conditional as with anything, but yeah, I think we'll like I think we have the team to win it outright, no issues. What was the next question?
Who do you think your biggest opposition will be? Your biggest rival?
Biggest opposition?
Yeah.
Well, it depends if the pro stuff goes through. If that does, then pro could be in with a shout. And like PMA probably, they're quite good. Good ball in, but I'm still really confident that I'm a better top laner than Spring. Confident that Mental's more aggressive and can do more in the early game than Lordio. So yeah, no issues.
That's fair enough. And finally, anyone that you want to call out, flame, thank, whatever the fuck it might be, I don't know.
Not really. No one to flame. There's no drama at the moment. Yep.
That's relatively timid for the most toxic person in VL. Fair enough. So we're back.
The
Cheers.
most toxic in VL. Right. Fuck everyone. Everyone's a piece of shit. Don't ban my GP or I'll come and neck you.
There we go. Cheers for being on, my friend. I'll kick you out. And back to T.
Yep.
So, as based off the things that we've heard, especially with WSL and with Ike, do you think that transfer week has been a success for these two teams, or do you think
For
it's just a
WSLA,
plaster?
massively. Massively for WSLA, I think Kiz brings a bit more in just in terms of champion pool, and maybe what the biggest thing for him is he doesn't give a shit. Like he is always going to be that. He's going to be that person in your rank game when you're down 0-20 at 10 minutes who's going to press no on that FF vote.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Fatal is he's a bit more toxic. He's a bit more, affects the mental. And from what I've seen of Wanty, he looks really, really good. So that's massive improvement. From Ike's side, I think
So obviously,
you and Cold are pretty similar. To be honest, I haven't seen Cold play too much, but he must be okay if he's sharing time with you. Who else?
So they've brought in Charmander Nerd to be kind of another player alongside Wanty. And then there's a chance that Mersh could be in there as well with Doper, kind of depending how everything goes down with him. So it's more broadening the roster without losing out on anybody, but potentially that makes it weaker. So what's your opinion on that one?
I wouldn't. So for me, Mersh and Doper seem to be very similar. From what I've heard, I haven't seen Doper play, but Mersh he's such a anti what I want from my top laner, so I probably have a really bad view of him. Like, he's the split push kind of guy, the one who will never join team fights, who won't play the tanky champs, that kind of thing. So for me, I hate that for a competitive 5v5 top laner, which I think kind of fits in if you look at who I took for top lane for DV is John Joe. It's like he loves those team fighting tanks, right? And from what I've heard, Dopa kind of has a similar style to that. So I don't know how much that offers, really. They seem kind of very similar players. It's nice to have another player in case Dopa's busy, which I think he might be a lot with work or something. It's what I've heard. Charmander and Wanty, I think that's a good pickup because from what I saw on Ela Thieves, Charmander plays more control and like Decillion and a couple of other control mages, kind of that thing, whereas Wanty plays more assassin-y. So you have two good mid laners, because Charmander is a good mid laner, who play very different styles to kind of fit if the meta suddenly shifts to something completely different. I think that's good to have there.
That's fair enough. Because for me, it doesn't seem like any team's actually lost the transfer window, which is weird. Because
DBT.
ah,
DBT.
what makes you say
Well,
that?
they lost Kiz, which I think is a massive downgrade. They've got in
Mel
who
Cloud,
is
isn't
it?
it, from VGR?
Cloud, yeah. And then they've been playing around with a couple of role swaps, which I'm not sure how much I can mention about that.
Well, it's been public now that they've been playing games. So
oh yeah, it was streamed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was streamed.
So, like, I think if the role swaps they went for, so where they put Sexy Jungle and Sophia top, and then Arbush ADC and Kui support, if they had Kiz in that team, it would be a massive improvement, just because then it's a 2-threat team. At the moment, it seems like Cloud isn't really being that second threat in the mid lane, so people are just dogpiling Kui and Arbush bot lane.
I mean, what
Because
happened?
that's
What happened against Pro is they put Cloud top with Cinderhulk, Scion, which is a new thing
Yeah.
apparently, which was fucking unkillable, by the way. Oh yeah, I have not got. But yes, and then they put in Korean Sophia mid, I think. I don't actually remember. Yeah, I think mid with Draven, which was a weird one. But
Sophia's champion pool is a fucking, like, he just plays the most random shit and he tends to do okay on it. So it's great.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they go. It's definitely a weird group of people. But we'll bring in the next person. We'll bring in. Oh, it looks like Dopa's in. I don't know what Dopa will have to say, but we'll pull him in anyway. Dopa, are you here? Yeah. No. Dopa. No. Yeah. He's
I
here.
am here now.
What exciting things have you got to say to the community of VL who have endeavoured to listen to your voice?
I mean, I'm just really pissed off at Impress, really.
Why?
I mean, this guy, oh my god, like... Okay, well, first of all, you know, Ike's been having all this kind of roster drama because I took, like, my North Korean boot camp. But the original idea, like, first of all, was that in my mind, it was all going to be fine. Because the original idea behind my mind was that Endeavor's going to do his games. And once he does his games, he's going to feel top lane.
Yeah, good one.
That is surely what was going to happen, right?
I mean, what, it's like 10 games or something left for him to play? I don't even know how many.
Like,
he played 3 today, so I think he has 10 left, yeah.
10 left.
It's like very few games. And we had Endeavor like as a sub on the roster for such a long time that I thought, okay, it's going to be his time to shine. He'll play top. I get to have a nice holiday. Yeah, so basically I went off to China. I thought I had a VPN that could work. It didn't. Like, Discord is blocked in China, Gmail, like, everything's blocked in China. So I had no way to communicate. So yeah, and then I come back and, like, everything has changed. Like, Elo Thieves disbanded, CLT kicked their mid laner for some reason. Like I got back, it's like a completely different world.
So what's your perspective now? Because there's Merged is somewhat involved. It's kind of got a tryout role at the moment with top lane. So I don't know. I don't know personally what's happening there. So what's your opinion on that one? And obviously, what's your opinion on this now being rather than the 5-man roster, which was doing well? You'd only lost one game, which was to me.
Oh my god!
And obviously, there's a chance of you losing this game now to PMA, depending on what happens. Hopefully, there's a little bit of sportsmanship there as well, but we'll see.
I mean, on the Mersh thing, like, I would prefer actually if he had more game time than me, simply because, like, I don't know if the job I'm getting is going to clash in terms of schedule or not. So it's looking a bit iffy if I can commit a whole load of time. So I was suggesting this to Impress that maybe I would move to like a more back staff role, you know, be like a coach or something instead of an actual player. But we'll see. Like I just think it's a good thing to have Mashed.
Have you played
I've heard
against
people say
Mershed? Do you know much about him?
I haven't really seen him play that much, but he's rated by other people, so I'm just gonna assume that he's gonna be fine. I think I saw one game he played on Elo Thieves on Renekton. Yeah, I mean he did fine. So
He's one of
like
those top
he's
laners that plays for the lane and will be more than happy to win by a 4-1 comp split push style.
I mean
Similar to yourself
I
with the Silver
like the
Markets.
4-1 as well. I mean, I agree with Ice that at this level of play, it's not optimal to not be playing like for the team fight. Like team fight comps are optimal at our level of gameplay, right? They're the easiest to execute. They mean that you don't have to devote resources to top lane. Like at our level of play, what tends to happen is it's very difficult to play through top because you will lose Drakes without like getting like accruing a topside advantage that makes up for losing Drakes essentially. And you would usually need a very proactive jungler. Like someone like Chewy, yeah, I could see, yeah, he can go for a topside strategy. Obviously he's permit now, but for most junglers, I don't think they would be able to play through topside, which is what makes something which we see in pro play, like a Renekton, for instance, we see Renekton a lot. Something like that just becomes much less optimal in our level of play.
I mean, for me personally, I think the three best top laners at the moment are Kled, because he can ult down bot, Sion, because he can ult down bot, and GP, because he can ult down bot.
Because you can ult down bot.
And if
Shen.
you're really good, I don't really rate Shen because he's useless late game. And if you're really good, Kennen and Nico as well, because you can press TP bot lane rather than up to your top lane turret. But I don't know, you top laners,
Yeah,
if you're like your 7 IQ,
I
I don't
think
really trust
I
you.
think I think in VL5s, I'm pretty sure that the right way to play is to play through bot lane, mid and bot. I think it's in terms of just controlling neutral objectives, it's just much easier to execute to have your AD carry ahead, and that just makes the game much easier to snowball off of. I think assassin mids as well have also done pretty well from what I've seen. Like you either go for like a heavy control mate, something like an Azir or Rihanna, or you go for. I mean, Akali's just been so busted that every player I've seen play Akali seems to pop off on that champion gold plat. I mean, I don't rate 1T very highly, so
Yeah, so
that explains my thought process on it.
So a question to both of you. Now, relative to each of your leagues, and if you want to comment on the other one, then fair enough. Which role would you say has the highest average player? So what I mean by that is, out of all the roles, the players playing in those roles, which role has the best players? I'm not going to say which one has the best player. Maybe you can comment on that as well. But on average, the highest quality players are in this role.
For
Nice,
silver
do you want to go
gold,
first?
Well, for either
I'd
league, if you want to
say
comment. But
for silver gold, I'd say ADC. For gold plat, it's difficult. I would have said jungle, but now Jury's not there. You have like probably, probably still jungle actually.
I think
Like
jungle
you
is
have
pretty good,
Lordio,
yeah.
Mental, OPN's is it Dan Dan, I think it is.
yeah, it's Dan,
He's
yeah.
really good. Who else is there?
Olu.
There's
Yeah,
Olu. Olu
obviously.
makes
I
jungle
mean,
quite.
Impress is not fantastic, but it's what it is. he plays his tanks, right? He plays the no brainers.
I agree.
To be fair to Impress, when
He
I tried
plays
out
for the team.
He
out
plays
at the
his
very
pocket pick
start,
Warwick.
I thought, oh god. When I played recently with them, he's genuinely impressed me. So he has made improvements in the role.
Yeah,
and
he's a
I'd
smart
be
player.
very hard
So.
to say that Mental's a better jungler than him.
Look, the thing about Impress is he's not good because he's a good jungler. He's good because he's kind of a good player. Like he has good fundamentals.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. He doesn't know the role. He's not the guy who's gonna like Faker highlight outplay you, but he knows the like macro aspect incredibly well
yeah,
from
like
what I've seen and when he's coached me before.
I think he's very good at like nothing outcomes so far on Ike have gone wrong. Like in the games I've played, nothing outcomes so far. There's like been no issues with that. Impress has been very good at just, kind of controlling the comms, controlling the general gameplay situation. And he's not the sort of player to like make a giga macro int. I mean, he can make a mechanical misplay, but he won't. Like we have Oscar, we have Cole. I mean, we have players who can make just complete int decisions, but Impress is not going to do that. So, I mean, that's what I value. He's just very solid.
It's just as
I
we said
guess.
with WSL before, they needed those tame, solid players to make the team work, and as you said, Ice, you needed that with Jonjo, which is part of the reason you chose him. But that's fair enough. Dopa, have you got any last words before we let Cole jump on because he's been waiting a while?
Yeah, I mean, I basically don't rate Cole as ADC. You know, like I said this before to you, Trigger. Like I really did prefer you in the tryouts.
But he's literally on your
Like
team, which is fucking
someone who has a
disrespectful as
bit
fuck.
more, someone who has a bit more self control, it's a bit more game knowledge. I'm just saying this because I know he's gonna come on. All right, but yeah, good chat. Cheerio.
Cheerio. I'll catch us later. We'll bring in our boy Cold. Hopefully, he's ready to jump on. Ike's at this podcast apparently, but these are the people that wanted to join. Cold, you here? Cold, you Scottish cunt, are you here?
Hello.
Hello. There you are. Welcome to the Letter podcast. You are live.
What is happening, guys?
Not much. What was first off? Dopa just called you out on a podcast, saying that he would have much preferred me over you when they made the original decision, where they did choose you.
Dope is a tier C top laner. What?
I mean, agreed. I've never seen this guy pick Aatrox and win lane, so you know.
The reason we lost against WSL was because of Dopa. So there's that.
I mean, I did also shit on you in bot lane, despite the camp, but you know.
I just came on to say that Ike is the best team in the league by far. We are going to win playoffs, everything. That's
Undoubtable.
basically it.
Undoubtable, Cold. Fair enough. Short and sweet. Fair play.
Right, we have the two best ADCs, the two best mid laners, the two best top laners, the best support, and the best jungle.
I mean,
anything else is
irrelevant.
trash.
Yeah, fair play. Can't argue with that one. Mainly because he said I was one of the best AD carries, so I fucking take it. Cold, well, cheers for coming on. If that's what you've got to say.
Is one thing.
Oh,
Luke is the worst ADC in the league. There's another thing.
Luke's the worst AD carry in the league. Fair enough, Cold. I won't echo that sentiment because we know that me and Luke have got enough drama between us in the past. But you'll take that one to the grave with you, I'm sure. Right, Cold.
Yes.
I'll jump you off there. Cheers for coming on, fella.
Like the best team in the league. Everyone else trash.
And you ended it with that.
Rip.
a bit of an eccentric one. Mental and Kiz look like they want to come on, but they've not joined the Discord, so I can't say. Is there any points of note that you'd really say for Silver Gold before we end the podcast? Because I don't know how long we've been on now. Maybe up to an hour.
Yeah, I want to big up my mid laner. I genuinely think Trey is currently the best player in the league by far. He has won me 9 games for us by far. And I think the thing that's going to allow us to be better than WSLA is the mid lane difference. A lot of people see Kali as the best mid, but if you ask Kali himself, he says he's on par with Lolly. And if you look at what Kali and Trey have done to WSI mid laner, they're never going to be good. I don't think they're good enough to win the league when they still have Festive mid.
There we go. Festive is the reason that WSLA will not win Silver Gold. Lollyfall is the best player in the league. We'll see when that matchup next happens. When is that game? Is that this week?
That's in like ages because we played them last week, so it's in like another 5 weeks or so.
Another 5 weeks or
4
so.
or 5
Well,
weeks.
You did beat WSLA in the end, didn't you? It was a 2-1.
Yeah, but that was. I think if Bauer had been there, it would have been a lot closer because I think Bauer actually has the smite button.
There you go. We know what happened in that one, but look forward to that one come the end of the season for Silver Gold. Hype leagues in both parties. We'll see how next week plans out with all the transfers happening, and we'll see really. Hopefully, Hentai Haven can pick up a win. That's not against Windham.
No, they can't because they're playing us. I'm gonna shit on.
There you go.
I'm gonna shit on Delight. Filthy sack player.
Delight versus Ice. Talk about a throwback from the CL days. It was CL with Delight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. We are gonna end the podcast here, as I don't like them to get too long. Considering some people complained and they were 3 hours long, who would have thought? Ice, cheers for being on. It's
No
been
problem. Cheers for having me.
Icezarrow. It's been Extra and it's been some of the VL boys. If you do want to take part on a podcast, just send me a PM, and if I think you'll be a good guest, you will undoubtedly be on. And if I've not put you on and you have asked and you're insulted by that, then give me a conversational topic to prove me wrong, and I'll look to get you on. And then leave a like on the YouTube video, despite the fact you've all watched it on this, and a comment, because you can see when it's uploaded on Twitch and YouTube, the views are like half. So that's just makes me look shit. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, we'll end the podcast here. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see more in this style, and we'll see you next time. Peace.